You ever notice how the road feels different after midnight? The asphalt seems to stretch longer. The silence feels thicker, like the world is holding its breath. That's when things happen that don't make sense in daylight. That's when you see things you wish you hadn't. Carl knew those roads better than anyone. He'd been a trucker for 20 years, running long-haul routes across the country. He trusted two things: his headlights and his dash cam. Headlights showed him where he was going. The dash cam made sure if something went wrong, he had proof. But nothing prepared him for what the dash cam would catch that night. It was Nevada, somewhere between nowhere and nowhere else. 3 in the morning, the kind of lonely blacktop where the stars themselves seem to avoid looking down. The camera shows it all: the steady hum of the tires, the endless ribbon of road, desert sand like ash on both sides. Then she appears, a hitchhiker standing on the shoulder. The dash cam catches her in one clean sweep. A young woman in a pale dress, hair falling like a curtain, her head cocked at an angle too sharp to be comfortable. The kind of tilt that makes your stomach clench because you know bones aren't supposed to bend that way. Carl swore he never slowed down. He never stopped. He passed her just like he'd pass a road sign. Yet, on the recording, something impossible happens. As his truck glides past, the hitchhiker's head turns, slowly, jerkily, not like a person, more like a puppet whose strings were being pulled. And then, without the truck stopping, without the doors opening, she's there, in the back seat. The camera catches her sitting perfectly still, hands folded in her lap, like she's waiting for church to begin. Her face is pale, almost gray, lit only by the faint glow of the dashboard. She isn't looking at the road. She isn't even looking at Carl. She's staring into the lens, right at it. And she's smiling. Not a normal smile. Not relief. Not joy. It's stretched too wide, like someone had carved it into her face and told her to hold it there forever. Carl didn't see her that night. He drove on, never knowing. It wasn't until the next morning, when he checked the dashcam footage, that he realized what had ridden with him through the dark. But the video tells its own story. At one point, the rear-view mirror quivers, catching her face in reflection. She isn't moving her lips, but the smile widens. Just enough to notice. Just enough to ruin sleep for the rest of your life. Carl tried to brush it off as a glitch. Maybe some camera overlay. Maybe a recording error. He showed it to a friend, another trucker, who'd been running the same highways for years. The man didn't laugh, didn't joke. He just went quiet and pale. And after a long silence, he said, "You met her." There's a legend about that stretch of road. Years ago, a young woman was hit by a truck while trying to hitchhike her way out of a desert town. The story goes she never left. Drivers call her the Highway Phantom. They say if you see her once, she finds her way into your backseat. And when she does, she doesn't get out. Carl doesn't drive nights anymore. He doesn't even own that dashcam. Sold it after it started turning itself back on, no matter what he did. Always aimed at the backseat. The video's still out there, floating around the internet. The last 30 seconds are nothing but static. But if you turn the volume all the way up, people swear they hear it. A woman's voice, faint, hidden inside the noise. Most say it sounds like, "Take me home." Now, here's the part that sticks with me. A few months later, Carl's rig was found abandoned on the same highway. Engine cold, headlights still on. No sign of him. The cab was empty, except for the back seat. And if you believe the officers who found it, the seatbelt in the back was buckled. So if you're ever out there, driving those desert highways around 3 in the morning, and you spot someone standing on the shoulder in a pale dress, don't stop. Don't even look too close. Because if she finds a way in, she's not riding just to the next town. She's riding with you forever. Some footage makes your skin crawl before you even know why. No blood, no screams, just something quiet, something that feels wrong. That's the kind of footage they call the babysitter tape. The story starts in Ohio, in one of those neat cookie-cutter suburbs where nothing bad is supposed to happen. A young couple had a 2-year-old daughter named Emily. Like most parents, they bought a nanny cam. Just a cheap motion-activated thing to watch over the living room at night. The first few weeks, nothing. Just hours of empty rooms and the occasional glimpse of Emily toddling around in the morning. But then came the recording from February 14th, 2:17 a.m. The video begins harmlessly enough. Emily climbs out of her playpen, still in her pink pajamas, rabbit tucked under her arm. She waddles toward the far corner of the room, away from the toys, away from everything. She stands facing the wall, head tilted up, lips moving. At first it looks like gibberish, the kind of whisper play toddlers do. But if you listen, really listen, you can hear something else on the audio. A deeper voice, too low to belong to her. Then the corner of the screen flickers. Another figure steps into frame. It's Emily, same pajamas, same rabbit, same face. But this one doesn't act like a child. It doesn't blink, doesn't sway, doesn't fidget. It just stands there, perfectly still. And while the first Emily whispers to the wall, this second Emily stares straight into the camera. Direct eye contact, like it knows someone will be watching. Seconds drag. The smile comes slowly, stretching wider and wider, until it looks painful. The audio begins to distort, static rising, voices layered on voices. And then the feed tears, pixels breaking apart. When the screen clears, there's only one child left. The parents swear they checked Emily's room that night. She was sound asleep in her bed, rabbit under her arm, breathing steady. They would never have known she'd been up if the camera hadn't shown them. They asked a friend to analyze the tape. No edits, no tampering, no glitches he could explain. Just a perfect, unbroken recording of something impossible. Online, the video spread fast. Some people said it was a camera malfunction. Others whispered darker things, doppelgangers, reflections that escaped the mirror, spirits trying on the skin of children. But here's what makes it worse. Every family that's lived in that house since then reports the same phenomenon. Their children, no matter the age, wake up at 2:17 a.m. Not crying, not scared, just standing in the corner, whispering to something unseen. Some say it's just superstition, that the story of the tape infected the families who came after. But one family refused to believe it, until they caught their own nanny cam footage. Their little boy, only 4 years old, whispering in the corner while another child, identical to him in every detail, stood behind him, smiling at the camera. That clip was uploaded too, frame by frame. It matched the original. Same corner, same smile, same time, 2:17 a.m. So maybe it's not the house. Maybe it's not the camera. Maybe it's something older, something that doesn't care where you live. And maybe, if you've got a nanny cam of your own, you should think twice before checking the recordings. Because if you look at the wrong time, you might see two versions of your child staring back at you, and only one of them belongs there. They say every town has one. The kind of place kids dare each other to enter. The kind of place parents whisper about but never explain. In this town, it was the old elementary school. Boarded up, rust eating through the swings, windows like blind eyes. A place that smelled of mildew and silence. But urban explorers love places like that. They call it history with a pulse. And a group of 3 decided to film their night inside, armed with flashlights and cameras, looking for content to post online. The footage starts normal enough. Creaking doors, peeling paint, lockers dented and rusted. Graffiti sprawled across walls where children's drawings used to hang. At first, the explorers laugh. They joke. Their lights catch a rat skittering across the floor, and they scream just to fill the silence. But the deeper they go, the quieter they get. In one hallway, the camera shakes slightly. You can tell the person filming is uneasy. The light flickers across faded bulletin boards, old announcements still clinging to the cork. Spring Play 1994. Book fair next week. It feels like the walls remember when they were alive. And then, softly at first, it begins. Children singing. The sound doesn't match the building. It's too clear, too close, like a choir practicing just down the hall. The camera swings left, swings right, flashlight beam cutting across empty doors. No one there, just that singing. High voices, off-key, old nursery rhymes. Ring around the rosy. The explorers laugh nervously, try to brush it off. Maybe a prank, maybe a speaker hidden somewhere. But when the cameraman pans back down the hallway, shadows dart across the walls. Small shadows, child-sized. They don't move like kids, too fast, too stretched. They flicker, long limbs bending where limbs shouldn't bend. And yet, they laugh as they move. One of the explorers swears under his breath. The camera jerks as they whisper about leaving. But the singing gets louder. Ashes, ashes. The flashlight catches something on the far end of the hall. A door slowly creaking open. Just a classroom. But the beam catches desks still lined up. Papers scattered, chalk frozen on the blackboard like the lesson was abandoned mid-sentence. The camera zooms in. For a split second, barely a breath, you see them. Children, sitting at their desks, pale and motionless, heads bowed as though waiting for class to begin. Then the light flickers. The room is empty. The explorers panic now. Their footsteps echo, their breath sharp and ragged on the mic. But the shadows follow. No matter how fast they run, you can see them darting along the walls, keeping pace, hands stretching longer each time the flashlight beam hits. At one point, the cameraman looks down a stairwell. The singing has changed. It's not playful anymore. It's wrong. Distorted like dozens of voices speaking through cracked throats. The words collapse into static. And then, silence. The tape ends suddenly. Just black. When police found the cameras weeks later, they were lying outside the school doors, as though dropped in a hurry. No explorers, no sign of what happened to them. The footage was intact though, the entire night recorded, right up to that silence. People online debate it endlessly. Some say it was staged. Others claim it was real, pointing out details too strange to fake. The way the shadows stretch independently from the explorers' bodies, the way the singing doesn't echo like sound should in an empty building. But the locals don't need convincing. They've known the story for years. The fire in 1995 that killed a whole class of second graders. Children trapped in the smoke, singing to keep each other calm while they waited for help that never came. No one likes to talk about it. And yet, every so often, kids dare each other to stand outside the boarded doors at midnight. They say if you listen closely, you'll hear it too. The faint sound of voices carrying through the cracks. Ring around the rosy. And if you're unlucky, if you stand there too long, you might see shadows dart across the windows, laughing, waiting for you to come inside. Because the school isn't empty. It never was. And those children have been waiting a very, very long time.